Okay, we're here at Etowanda High School today, meeting with the principal, and I'd like you to introduce yourself, tell us the number of years you've been in education and what you are currently doing as a title.
Good morning. My name is Don Jaramillo. I'm the principal at Etowanda High School. This is my completion of my 6 years as an administrator. I've been in education for 32 years. I was a teacher here on the Etowanda campus for 21 years. Proud to say, and now I'm back as the principal, so it's really quite an honor to be here.
Well, Mr. Armel, it's great to have you take out this time to talk about a subject that I know that you find very important, and that's parent engagement. Explain a little bit about what parent engagement is and how does it work for the betterment of the student?
Well, parent engagement is simple in my mind. My parents were engaged in my education. Now, back in the day, my parents were there to support me, to support the school system, but I think part of that was there to let me know that they were keeping an eye on me and there was going to be an expectation. Taking that as a history for myself and having taught my first 5 years in Baldwin Park, where the Latino population was about 98% and very few parents involved, and it was very much a culture like what I grew up in. I realized that the only way you can have student success is by keeping parents informed. So that group started with just a fledgling of parents, maybe a handful, and by the time we finished my 5 years there, we were able to grow more parents into the organization. Same thing here at Etowanda. In my 21 years here, we were able to create this parent support group that was really self-sufficient. They were here for the kids. Now, what does all that mean? It really boils down to parents being involved with their kids. I look at it very simply as from this viewpoint, that kids see their parents here. They see adults that are interested in what they're doing, and right away there's an immediate connection. Student enjoyment, student growth, student engagement, parents supporting that. Once kids start seeing that, then they only want to get better because they want their parents to be even more impressed on how they do. So we see that from academic decathlon. We see it in the band program, the drama program, athletic programs. You see more and more of that, and that really improves it. The next step is for those parents that are working 2 jobs, 3 jobs. The parents that are there, they become that surrogate parent. They become that parent that's really wanting to help more than just their own child. I think I've been around long enough to hear kids call parents that aren't even their own parents mom and dad. I've had kids accidentally call me dad. I take that as the best compliment ever because they're looking at it as a resource that is beyond educator, that's beyond any more. It's a support structure. So for me, having a parent organization or parents involved is paramount to the success.
You know, you mentioned a key word, and that's resource. And it's important for children and students to have resources or to believe they have resources as they move through their academic journey, particularly in high school. What do you believe the community provides as a resource, and how important is community as a resource to students moving forward in life?
Well, the first resource, as I mentioned, is just connection of being there, being seen at the event. So if mom and dad are showing up, they're being seen. The next step is that resource is to provide the support to an educator that they normally, that's taking one less stress off of the educator. For instance, in our drama productions, just having parents take the tickets and hand out programs that are drama production is a real benefit to the educator because the educator is now able to focus on what they're supposed to do, teach kids. The adults, on the other hand, are there to greet, and they start greeting more parents. And when parents see other parents participating, the light bulb usually goes on and says, hey, it looks like they've got parents wanting to be involved. I wonder how I can get involved. Thus, the circle becomes really very tight. We see a school has to be able to, and I'm going to back up, the school has to be willing to take on the issue of getting parents involved, and that is important for me. I call it the triangle. As the principal, I have to be able to open the door and tell parents, we want you to be involved. Once we see that, then the teachers know it's okay to have parents involved. And once parents are involved, the kids are stuck in the middle of that triangle, and we're only going to see success. It may not be every parent involved, but at least there is a group of parents that are involved with every organization. We just started this EHI Community Connection. Now, our parent organization started with 15 parents. We just had 8th grade night. We had 49 sign up that evening. If we just continue with that type of operation, the amount of information is like the telephone game. One person tells another and another, and then now the dome off of a school disappears and now becomes a community relationship.
You know, one of the key issues here, you talk about getting signups. African American students, particularly African American boys, you know the statistics, you know where they stand. Sometimes being labeled that they are more engaging with athletics versus academics. What are your concerns about where we are with our African American male students today? And what are some of the recommendations or suggestions as a principal that you would like to offer to help overcome those deficits?
African American males, I think, are in a situation to absolutely do whatever they want to significantly through education. The trick is to give those kids, or whether it's a Hispanic male or those kids in general, we got to give them a boost. The number one boost is, as an administrator on my campus, I seek out all students of any color, but I seek them out especially if they're doing academically well. It was really interesting. We had an 8th grade presentation. We're very fortunate that we have an all-star basketball player who is going to full ride to USC. But what's really interesting, he carries a 3.85 GPA. Who did we have speak at our 8th grades visiting our school? Jordan spoke. The first thing that Jordan said was, you need to be a student first, athlete second. And here's an African American young male who has the world by a tail right now in his life. But the first thing he talked about is academic success and why he feels like he's going to be successful as SC, and he gets to play basketball. Those students speak powerfully, more than I could speak, more than a parent could speak. Kids listen to kids. On the Etiwanda campus, we offer AVID. We also have a youth group that's really geared towards the Hispanic and African American male that meets every other week. These groups are giving them the study skills and the skills that are essential for success beyond high school. Basically, frankly, we've become the parents on the campus. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a great thing. I think it's really important that we give these opportunities. I also think, as the principal of the school, I've made my way, and I've encouraged my staff, we go out and seek the African American male adults and ask them to be involved. I have a couple of the parents on the basketball team, and I just use that as reference because we're just in the middle of basketball season. And I asked them to show up to events. I asked them to speak at events. That modeling alone, kids listen to more adults than they'll listen to the teacher. Kids listen to more of their peers than they listen to their parents at times. And it was interesting because at our 8th grade night, I had a Latino doctor dentist speak to the parents about the importance of education. I have a gentleman, African American parent, who is employed by UC Irvine, who spoke to the essential about getting kids involved and parents involved. Just those two men by themselves, the power of the spoken word just through actions is significant, and I think we're well on our way.
And so the invitation by schools, by districts, for inclusion of the parents, and not fear of the parents, to be a part of the education process of a child and the development of a child, you say that is the model we need to use.
I completely agree. I believe in it so much because as a teacher, in teaching my art form for 26 years, if I hadn't gotten those parents involved, we would be in trouble. And I mean in trouble in that it would have been impossible for me to do the things that we are able to do. Those students, the demographics of our students, these kids travel to Europe. They travel to national events. They play for presidents. They had all these opportunities, yet we have the same demographic as Southern California. These kids can be successful because their parents were backing them. And I think that is what my goal is for this school. And I believe that's what the goal should be for every school. Inclusion of parents into your part of your, not daily, but keep them informed. I think the biggest concern I hear from parents is, I just want to know, and I want to know how I can help. And I think for our district, we have the home to school resource called School Loop, where teachers could put grades on there. There's interactive emails, there's homework assigned on there. Obviously, our district has made that important. Now we have to make it important that we utilize it fully on our campus as well as our parents use it.
And in closing, what message would you like to extend to parents, all parents, as it relates to their invitation to the education system and how much of a role they play in partnering with the school and not fighting against the schools? What would you like to share?
Parents, get involved. Number one, ask questions. I have parents that they're saying, I'm sorry, I'm asking about, and I said, what are you sorry about? I tell them, ask questions all the time. I need them to know that I have an open door policy. A parent comes in, I use the same line, it's a silly line, but parents come in, they're mama bears and papa bears. They should be. They're here to protect their kids and give them the best. I also would say to parents, trust the school system. Allow the administrators and teachers to do their magic. They really are excellent at what they do. It just takes a little time sometimes to work through the problems. Believe in the school system. And I think we've had several presidents over my lifetime talk about volunteering in our country. Don't be afraid to volunteer in the school. Do not wait to be asked. Volunteerism is moving forward, you moving forward. I think those aspects alone will really help to create an incredible academic environment on any campus.